And so that means that it's really an unfair kind of crisis. It hits the poorest the hardest.
British businessman Sir Richard Branson is calling for Europe to reduce its dependence on Russian oil and gas to try to help end the conflict in Ukraine by applying economic pressure to Russia. Let's talk to him now. Hello, Sir Richard Branson. Hello from us.
Good morning.
What is it that you say should happen and why?
Well, we are a group of business leaders, which we feel that it's time for business leaders to speak out on this. It's not time for neutrality, and we all with one voice, as most people do, feel that Russia's invasion is completely unprovoked and completely unacceptable. So we've basically met to try to decide what needs to be done. The first thing we feel needs to be done is a massive increase in military aid. NATO governments should immediately transfer all the weapons that Ukraine has asked for. And then the second thing is that Europe's dependence on Russian oil, gas and coal, we just got to stop that dependence immediately. And we've come up with a number of plans to show that that can be done immediately without great pain for European countries or consumers.
And don't you think if it was that simple, they would have done it by now?
I've been a 55 years a businessman and an entrepreneur, and I think sometimes business leaders can see things and be able to act more quickly sometimes than politicians. I mean, our plan is very simple, and that is, and it's similar to what the IEA have also published, that we take 2.7 million barrels of oil out of the system by doing things like reducing the speed limit for cars and lorries, by cutting back our air conditioning slightly, our heating slightly, and so on. Now, that would, by freeing up 2.7 million barrels a day of oil, that completely covers all the imports that Germany make from Russia and other countries take from Russia, and it leaves a lot over. The benefit of that is that prices will come down, and inflation will come down quite dramatically, and so basically there is a way of doing it that is a win for Ukraine. It means that the billions are not going to Russia. A win for the consumer because this small sacrifice of driving a little bit slower or just turning the thermostat down by say 1 degree, that is going to save their money in their pocket right away.
Sorry to interrupt you. Do you really think it's as simple as that? If everyone across Europe, particularly countries like Germany, Austria, those who are still buying Russian oil and gas because they say if we cut it off immediately, which is what you're calling for, then, as the German finance minister said yesterday, look, whole car production plants would have to shut down. Unemployment would rise. If it's literally about people just turning the thermostat down and driving a bit more slowly, I mean, it can't be as simple as that, can it?
This has to happen throughout IEA countries. So, we in Britain would have to play, the British people would have to play their part, all Europeans would have to play their part, and other IEA countries like Australia would need to play their part. But if we drive 10 miles an hour less and do one or two of the other things the IEA have suggested, we will have plenty of oil to be able to compensate Germany for the loss of their imports. And we can do this literally overnight. I mean, the IEA have said that within a couple of months, there will be plenty of spare oil for Germany and for other countries that import Russian oil. So it is simple. A lot of answers to a lot of problems are simple if you can sit back and look at it. And what we're urging governments to do is to implement the IEA report in full, and for citizens to realise that that this can be their part in fighting this war, and they will save money, and they'll save a lot of money because the overall oil price will collapse. I mean, it'll be also a very good answer to OPEC by taking 2.7 million barrels out of the system.
And are you claiming that by doing that, European economies won't be damaged at all?
I'm saying that by doing that, European economies and Western economies generally will benefit from it because there will be a collapse in the oil price. America just released, I can't remember exactly what it was, but they say half a million barrels extra per day. That helps. But if you can actually effectively find 2.7 million barrels by all of us just changing our habits slightly, that will bring oil back in a dramatic way, and it will stop billions going into Putin's pockets every day. So, I would urge governments to read the IEA report and implement it in full.
Okay. Thank you very much for talking to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir Richard Branson.